good? It's your boy Pastor G, Pastor Gary Morris. I know it's been a minute. My bad. It's been a minute. A lot's been going on. Went on vacation. Just lost some family members and some friends, things like that. But, you know, God's word never stopped, and neither do I. So, took a little hiatus, was on vacation. I'll get into that in a minute. But I do have another 15 minutes of faith segment for you here today. Another, just something that I experienced actually while I was on vacation that I want to talk about today. And kind of open it up to say it's okay to discuss it. That's how we get delivered from it, all right? Check this out. So we were in the hotel. It's late night. We were at this resort in St. Martin, right? And it's a French resort, so you got to understand it's French culture, right? So we're watching there, like they've got some American channels, they've got some French channels, they've got some football, I'm sorry, it's soccer, right? But I mean, Americans call it soccer, we call it football. And then they had American football on, right? Like College Game Day or whatever. And then they had like a couple history channels. And then so as I'm going through, there's 50 channels. The 54th channel was Playboy. I was like, whoa. Like as soon as you hit it, it was like right there on the screen, right? And so I keep trying to go up to the, and we're laughing because I'm hitting the up button, and it's like the TV all of a sudden doesn't want to change. But it gets off the channel, and one thing I had to come to realize that a lot of people deal with, thank God I didn't really dive into it, but I've experienced it, was pornography, right? Most kids, on the survey that they took around the United States, roughly, all right? The average age for the first time a young man experiences porn is 8. And by age 15, 80% of young men have seen some kind of hardcore porn, right? And here's the issue with porn, why it's basically called porn. The institution that God made of marriage between man and a woman, right? You notice that the devil didn't show up until Eve showed up. The whole time Adam was there, didn't have a way in. When Eve showed up, something that Adam desired and he loved, that's why he ate versus telling God to get rid of the serpent. He was in love with his wife. But the institution of marriage was the first thing that God put together, and the devil has tried to kill it. And part of killing it is through sexual immorality, right? The Bible talks about sexual immorality in so many different ways. 1 Corinthians 6:18 says flee sexual immorality. It's a sin against the body. It goes into all those kind of things. 1 Peter 2:11 talks about flee from it, from the sinful desires of your heart, all that kind of thing. Why such a play on it? Realize the issue, right? The sexual immorality of porn, you're taking something outside of your marriage, outside of what's natural for the body to do, that someone else is doing, and you're bringing those desires into your relationship, into your home, into your thinking. It gets into young people, single people, male and female, getting into masturbation, sexual immorality, sexual promiscuity. And the most damaging part of it is the abuse to the spirit and the soul. Why? Realize that Adam and Eve, when they had their intimacy, their spirits, that when the Bible talks about two becoming one, it's not just in finances, it's not just in who cooks on the kind of stuff, it's in spirit. And part of that spiritual connection is had during intimacy. So realize when you're opening up your spirit to porn and all those other kind of things, it's killing off the spirit, because it's not what your desire should be towards your mate. You're now incorporating all kind of, they've got animal porn and porn with 2 or 3 people in it, and orgies and all that kind of stuff. And that kind of thing, because of how of a blessing God made sexual intercourse between the man and the wife, that desire is almost addictive as a drug. And when you start to get addicted to porn and bringing all that kind of sickness and nasty desire into your home, a lot of relationships and marriages fail because that person who was watching porn wants their mate to be what they saw in the porn movie or whatever they experienced before, right? And it's a sickness almost, because that strong passion that God put in us toward our mate, now we have it sexually toward a bunch of different people outside of our relationships. You get to people wanting to commit adultery or even fornication and just so many things. Galatians 5:19 says, Acts of the flesh are obvious, right? It says acts of the flesh are obvious. The first thing is sexual immorality. The second thing is sexual impurity. And then the third thing is debauchery. It goes straight from immorality, impurity, to debauchery. Because that's how quick you can go off that cliff with sexual promiscuity, sexual sin, all based on porn. And the devil is winning because he's killing marriages, killing the foundation and the purity of the relationship, because your desire is now toward all the mess you see on porn. That's why porn is such a big industry. That's why here's another deputy, law enforcement plug, right? Just dealing with human trafficking, how sick or nasty some of these older men want to have a sexual desire towards a minor under the age of 8, right? You say, oh, that's disgusting. It's all that sexual immorality is on the same level. You can't say, well, I only watch porn with animals. It's not the same as desiring after. It's still sexual sickness, right? Having 9 or 10 partners at one time and abusing your body, that's a sexual sickness. Your desire might not be what somebody else is, but that sickening sexual desire is going to lead you to almost pretty much guaranteed to death. Look at what happened, right? David, a man after God's own heart. The reason why David got in so much trouble, and so did his son Solomon, David was supposed to be, look at how the Bible writes the story and kind of canonizes what David was supposed to do. It says, at a time when kings are supposed to be out at war, which David was, he was on the rooftop and then he saw a naked woman. And he killed her husband to have her because he desired her nakedness. Right? Go back and read the scripture. We talk about Noah. His son saw his nakedness and came in unto him. That was a sexual sin. It was disgusting. So realize that sexual sin, even from David, then his son, who we thought, oh man, he asked God for wisdom. His weakness was sexual sin. He married different women, had a whole bunch of different concubines, and because of all that sexual intoxication that he put on his body, he was worshiping their gods and all that kind of stuff. And you would think someone as great as King Solomon could have just got it together, but nope. That sexual sin will take you down a road that you really don't want to go down. So realize this: the reason why the Bible talks about the lust of the flesh and the pride of life and lust of the eyes. Don't put yourself, and the Bible, what I'm saying behind this is, don't put yourself in a position to see those kind of things. If you're not going to the strip club, if you're not, and social media is just the biggest setup to help you fall. I've been on Twitter watching that people post stuff about football games and all that kind of stuff, and based on who I know, people that might be associated with mine in my circle, if they liked something that had porn in it, it will show up in my timeline. So then I see it, and I got to scroll past it, all that kind of stuff, right? And I mean, as a man, like, I like the female body, but I thank God I never got off of just sitting in my room hours upon hours upon hours and watching porn. Have I seen porn? Yes. Have I been to a strip club before? Yes. And it was one of those things where, after a while, I regretted it. And I would thank God, like I had it in me. I was like, man, I don't even understand why you want to go spend all your money for someone to make you so emotionally charged, and then you go home to nothing. To me, that was I turned it into like, it's a waste of money, right? I didn't want to take my money and give it to someone who can't do anything for me but stir up my emotions. So when I leave, now I have to go home and do what? Now I'm going to commit more sexual immorality. I went and paid somebody to watch them, and I'm going to go home and either pleasure myself or watch something on TV, and it's like a snowball effect. I'm just glad I experienced porn, and I thank God that it's one of those things that I never really got into deeply. But do I battle at times when I'm like walking around and like I forgot where I was one time, and like people walk around like half dressed, half naked, and you want to look, but you have to train yourself not to. I'm guilty. To me, I know I've had lust of the flesh. I'm like, oh man, she's thick, and I'm like, whoa, I have to catch myself because my flesh wants to respond that quick. I've done it, but I thank God for His grace and His mercy. I've never been that kind of person that really got off into anything a lot like that. But realize if you don't put yourself in that place, you won't expose yourself to it. You got me? So just please be cognizant of that. Don't put yourself in that position. Don't put those kind of things into your relationship or especially into your marriage. It's sickening, and it's going to take you somewhere on a road that's pretty much going to end up at death. Because we see how people who sometimes live that sexually promiscuous life, they get a disease and they die. Their body can't take a lot of the things, and it's just that bad. And knowing that at a younger age, now at age 8, kids are being exposed to porn, we've got to really protect our children. We've got to protect our young people to keep the sanctity of what God created, the intimacy between a man and his wife, sacred. All right? So be careful when you're on vacation, clicking through the TV, you know what I'm saying? Things will happen, right? But be obedient. If you get caught in something like that, just fast and pray and move on. Do not let yourself get caught up, because it's going to cost you more than what you're willing to spend. All right? That's my 15 minutes of faith segment today. It's your boy Pastor. Just want to drop that note into your mind to watch yourself. All right? Got any questions? Hit me up at GaryMorris.org. That is GaryMorris.org. Or hit me up at BereanCFGA on Instagram and on Facebook. We're also at www.BereanChristianFellowship.org. That's www.BereanChristianFellowship.org. Thank you for joining me this week on the 50 Minutes of Faith. I will see you guys soon. Have a blessing. It's your boy Pastor G, and I'm gone. Take care, y'all. Get off that TV. Stay off social media, boy.